Hey, everybody. How's everyone? Are you doing well? Trusting in the Most High? Because that's the only way that you will do well, is trusting in the Most High. Okay, we're going to read Marqos chapters 2 through 5, and here we go. Okay, where's my spot? All right. Chapter 2. And some days later, he again entered into Kafar Nahum, and it was heard that he was in the house. And so many gathered together that there was no more room, not even at the door, and he spoke the word to them. And they came to him, bringing a paralytic, carried by 4, and not being able to come near him because of the crowd, they uncovered the roof where he was. And when they had broken through, they let down the bed on which the paralytic was lying. And when Yahushua saw their belief, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven you." Now, some of the scribes were sitting there and reasoning in their hearts, "Why does this one talk like this? He is blaspheming. Who is able to forgive sins but the Most High alone?" And immediately, Yahushua, knowing in his spirit, his ruach, that they were reasoning that way within themselves, said to them, "Why do you reason about all this in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Rise, take up your bed and walk'? But in order for you to know that the Bane of Adam possesses authority on the Eretz, or earth, to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic, "I say to you, rise, take up your bed, and go to your house." And he rose straightway and took up the bed and went out before all, so that all were amazed and praised the Most High, saying, "We have never seen the like of this." And he went out again by the sea, and all the crowd was coming to him, and he taught them. And passing by, he saw Lewi of Chelef sitting at the tax office, and said to him, "Follow me." And having risen, he followed him. And it came to be, as he sat at the table at his house, that many tax collectors and sinners also sat with Yahushua and his Talmudim, for there were many, and they followed him. And when the scribes and the Pharisees saw him eating with the tax collectors and sinners, they said to his Talmudim, "Why does he eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners?" And guys, I think I'm going to have to stop for just a minute. I will do a second video. Let me go see if my brother is in need right now, and I'll be right back and see what happens. Okay, false alarm. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Why does he eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? And hearing this, Yahushua said to them, "Those who are strong have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I did not come to call the righteous to repentance, but sinners." And the Talmudim of Yochanan and of the Pharisees were fasting. And they came and said to him, "Why do the Talmudim of Yochanan and of the Pharisees fast, but your Talmudim do not fast?" Yahushua said to them, "Are the friends of the bridegroom able to fast while the bridegroom is with them? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they are not able to fast. But the days shall come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then they shall fast in those days. And no one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment. Otherwise, the renewed piece pulls away from the old and the tear is made worse. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine bursts the wineskins and the wine runs out and the wineskins are ruined. But new wine is to be put into new, fresh wineskins. And it came to be that he went through the grain fields on the Shabbat, Sabbath, and as they went, his Talmudim began to pluck the heads of grain. Pharisees said to him, "Hey, look, why do they do what is not right on the Shabbat?" Shabbat. And he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he had need and was hungry, he and those with him? How he went into the house of Yahweh while Abiathar was Kohen Hagadol and ate the shewbread, which is not right to eat except for the Kohanim, and he gave it also to those who were with him?" And he said to them, "The Shabbat was made for man, and not man for the Shabbat. So the bane of Adam is also Adon, master, of the Shabbat." Sabbath. Chapter 3. And he went into the congregation again, and a man who had a withered hand was there. And they were closely watching him whether he would heal him on the Shabbat, so as to accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Get up to the middle." And he said to them, "Is it right to do good on the Shabbat or to do evil? To save life or to kill?" But they remained silent. And having looked around on them with displeasure, being grieved at the hardness of their hearts, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out. And his hand was restored as healthy as the other. And the Pharisees went out and immediately plotted with the Herodians against him, how to destroy him. Yeah, out of jealousy, of course. But Yahushua withdrew his Talmudim to the seas, and a great crowd from Galilee followed him, and from Yehudah, even from Jerusalem, and from Edom, and beyond the Jordan, and those around Sor and Sidon. A large crowd came to him when they heard how much he was doing. And he spoke to the Talmudim that a small boat should be kept ready for him because of the crowd, and they should press upon him. For he healed many, so that as many as had afflictions fell upon him to touch him. And the unclean spirits, whenever they saw him, fell down before him and cried out, saying, "You are the bane of the Most High." But he warned them many times that they should not make him known. And he went up on the mountain and called to him whom he wanted, and they came to him. And he appointed 12 to be with him, and to be sent out to proclaim, and to possess authority, to heal the sick, and to cast out demons. And he appointed the 12, Shimon, to whom he added the name Kepha, which means stone or rock, and Yaakov, Zavdeh, and Yochanan, his brother of Yaakov. Oh, I think I hear my brother. To whom he added the name Beni Reges, that is, sons of thunder. Okay, I'm going to stop here for the time being, and I will come back and finish in a few, because I think my brother is ready. I'll be back in a second. Okay, guess not. See, my brother needs help to use the bathroom because he has you know his issues, and so I take him and put him in there, and he usually tells me on my phone, but sometimes I hear his chair, and so that's what I think I keep hearing, but maybe it was his coffee pot because it clicks too. But anyway, back to where we were. If I can find where we were. Okay, Sons of Thunder. And Andre and Philippos and Bartholomew and Matithyahu, who was Lewi, the tax collector, and Toma and Yaakov of Chelef and Tadai and Shimon the Canaanite and Yahudah from Kerioth, who also delivered him up. And they went into a house. And again the crowd came together so that they were unable even to eat bread. And when his relatives heard about this, they went out to seize him, for they said, he is out of his mind. And you would think that his mama would know. Good gravy. Anyway. And the scribes came down from Jerusalem and said, he has Beelzebul, and he casts out demons by the ruler of the demons. That's so ridiculous. And calling them near, he said to them in parables, how is Satan able to cast out Satan? And if a man is divided against himself, that reign is unable to stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house is unable to stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he is unable to stand, but has an end. No one is able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man, and then he shall plunder his house. Truly I say to you, all the sins shall be given to the sons of men, and whatever blasphemies they speak. But he who blasphemes against the Ruach HaKodesh, which is of the Father, has no forgiveness forever, but is subject to everlasting judgment. Because they said he has an unclean spirit. And his brothers and his mother came, and standing outside, they sent to him, calling him. And a crowd was sitting around him. And they said to him, see, your mother and your brothers are outside, seeking you. And he answered them, saying, who is my mother or my brothers? And looking about on all those sitting round him, he said, see my mother and my brothers, for whoever does the desire of my Father is my brother and my sister and mother. Excuse me. Chapter 4. And he began to teach again by the sea, and a large crowd was gathered to him, so that he entered into a boat to sit at the sea. And all the crowd was on the land facing the sea, and he taught them much in parables, and said to them in his teaching, listen, see, the sower went out to sow, and it came to be as he sowed. Some fell by the wayside, some of the birds of the Shamayim came and devoured it, and others fell on rocky places where it had not much soil, and immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of soil. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. Other fell on thorns, and the thorns grew up, choked it, and it yielded no crop. And other fell on good soil and yielded a crop that came up, grew and yielded a crop, some 30-fold, some 60, some 100. And he said to them, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was alone, those about him with the 12 asked him about the parable. And he said to them, to you it has been given to know the secret of the reign of the Most High. But to those who are outside, all are done in parables, so that seeing they see, but do not perceive, and hearing they hear, but do not understand, lest they should turn their sins, lest they should turn and their sins be forgiven them. And he said to them, do you not understand this parable? How then shall you understand all the parables? The sower sows the word. These then are the ones by the wayside where the word is sown. And when they hear, Satan comes immediately and takes away the word that was sown in their hearts. And likewise, these are the ones sown on rocky places, who when they hear the word immediately receive it with joy, and they have no root in themselves, but are short-lived. Then when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately they stumble. And others are those sown among the thorns. These are they who hear the word, and the worries of this age, and the deceit of riches, and the desires for other matters entering in, choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. And those sown on good soil are those who hear the word and accept it and bear fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, some 100. And he said to them, would a lamp be brought to be put under a basket or under a bed? It is not to be put. Is it not to be put on a lampstand? For whatever is hidden shall be revealed, and whatever has been kept secret shall come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. And he said to them, take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you, and more shall be added to you who hear. For whoever possesses, to him more shall be given. But whoever does not possess, even what he possesses shall be taken away from him. And he said, the reign of the Most High is as when a man scatters seed on the ground, then sleeps by night and rises by day, while the seed sprouts and grows. He himself does not know how. For the soil yields crops by itself, first the blade, then the head, after that the completed grain in the head. And when the crop is ready, immediately he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. And he said, to what shall we compare the reign of the Most High? Or with what parable shall we present it? Like a mustard seed, which, where it is sown on the ground, is smaller than all the seeds on earth, or the arets. And when it is sown, it grows up and becomes greater than all plants, and forms large branches, so that the birds of the Shamayim are able to nest under its shade. And with many such parables, he was speaking to them the word as they were able to hear. And he was not speaking to them without parables. And when they were alone, he explained all to his Talmudim. And on the same day, when evening had come, he said to them, let us pass over to the other side. And having left the crowd, they took him along in the boat as he was. And other little boats were also with him. And there came a great windstorm, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already being filled. And he was at the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him up and said to him, teacher, is it no concern to you that we perish? And having been awakened, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, why are you so afraid? Have you not yet belief? And they feared exceedingly and asked each other, who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? Chapter 5. And they came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gadarenes. And when he came out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no one was able to bind him, not even with chains, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains, but the chains had been pulled apart by him, and the shackles broken in pieces, and no one was able to tame him. And continually, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying out and cutting himself with stones. And seeing Yahushua from a distance, he ran and bowed down to him, and having called out with a loud voice, said, "What have I to do with you, Yahushua, Bane of the Most High? Swear to him not to torture us, not to torture me." Sorry. For he had said to him, "Come out of the man, unclean spirit." And he was asking him, "What is your name?" And he answered, saying, "My name is Legion, because we are many." And he begged him very much that he would not send them out of the country. Not the man, I'm sure, but those demons. Anywho, lost my place. I'm going to. Okay. Now a great herd of pigs was there feeding near the mountains. And all the demons begged him, saying, "Send us into the pigs so that we may enter into them." And he gave them permission, and the unclean spirits came out of him and entered into the pigs, and they were about 2,000. Oh, poor man. And the herd rushed down the steep place into the sea and drowned in the sea. And those who fed the pigs fled and reported it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what had taken place. So they came to Yahushua and saw the demon-possessed man, him who had legion, sitting and dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And those who saw it related to them what was done to the demon-possessed one and about the pigs. And they began to plead with him to leave their borders. And as he was entering into the boat, he who had been demon-possessed begged him that he might be with him. Yahushua did not allow him, but said to him, "Go home to your friends and report to them what the Adon has done for you and how he had compassion on you." And he left and began to proclaim in Decapolis all that Yahushua had done for him, and all marveled. And when Yahushua had passed over again by boat to the other side, a large crowd assembled to him, and he was by the sea. And see, one of the rulers of the assembly came, Yair by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet and begged him strongly, saying, "My little daughter, she lies at the point of death. Come, lay your hands on her to heal her, and she shall live." And he went with him, and a large crowd was following him, and they were thronging him. And a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years and suffered much from many physicians and spent all she had and was no better, but rather became worse. Having heard about Yahushua, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, "If I only touch his garments, I shall be made well." And immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And immediately Yahushua, knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my garments?" And his Talmudim said to him, "You see the crowd is thronging you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" Hmm. And he was looking around to see her who did this. For he knew who it was. He had to. And the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done to her, came and fell down before him and spoke to him all the truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your belief has healed you. Go in peace and be relieved from your affliction." As he was speaking, they came from the ruler of the congregation, saying, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" But having heard the word that was spoken, Yahusha said to the ruler of the assembly, "Do not be afraid, only believe." And he allowed no one to follow him except Kepha and Yaakov and Yochanan, the brother of Yaakov. So they came to the house of the ruler of the assembly and saw a commotion and much weeping and lamenting. And coming in, he said to them, "Why make this commotion and weep? The child is not dead, he's sleeping." And they were laughing at him. And when he had put them all out, he took the father and the mother of the child and those who were with him and went to where the child was lying. And taking the child by the hand, he said to her, "Talita kumi," which is translated, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And immediately the girl rose up and was walking, for she was 12 years old, and they were completely astonished. I'm sure her parents were completely astonished. But he ordered them many times that no one should know it, and said that she should be given to eat. Okay. Sorry about the couple of interruptions, but sometimes I have to keep the ears out. And sometimes, you know. But anyway, I hope this finds you and finds you well. I hope that this channel helps whoever. I mean, I'm no teacher. I can tell you that right now. Not a teacher. The things that are given, I put out. And as it is said, the Ruach moves. So anyway, see you guys later. I hope your day is wonderful. I hope all is well. And I'll see you next time. See ya.